were there other features that we haven't looked at, or excuse me, have we looked at?
So there's a few more things, but I think it'd be better in the context of looking at the editor tools. I want to talk a little bit about the development SDKs and the integration tools. So we've got some examples we can look at there. We've got essentially three SDKs. There's the player SDK, there's the platform SDK, and there's the streaming SDK, and they're all serve slightly different purposes. The player SDK is to facilitate custom interactive experiences using our player as the center of it. So there's a lot of control and a lot of data you can get at about what the user's doing inside the tour. The platform SDK allows people with their own application platforms, mobile platforms, to drive the entire of the Metareal backend, including creating projects, uploading panoramas, kicking off production jobs, getting the tours back and displaying them completely from an API. So it's possible to completely integrate all our technology into your application, into your mobile platform, and use it in a completely white labeled context. And the other one,
SDK.
Third SDK is the streaming SDK, and this is designed to allow folks who have their own native app 3D player to stream Metareal tour data live into their own player. So, for example, we have folks that have a VR application and they've got their own VR application. They want to stream a Metareal tour into that VR application and not host it in a web browser on the VR headset. The streaming SDK allows them to do that.
Awesome. Are there other features that we haven't talked about?
We haven't looked at Google Maps Street View. There's not a whole lot to look at that, and as you probably, I'm sure you know, Google can take, up to 10 days to publish content when it's pushed up to Street View. So it's kind of hit and miss whether we'd be actually able to show that in the context of a 1 hour show.
So it's fair to say with Metareal Stage, it's easy, fast, and simple to publish your tour to Google Street View.
Yes.
And on part 2, we could show where that is in the back end, though in real time, we're not going to go see it on Google in this same day. But if publishing to Google Street View is important to you, yes, you can do that with Metareal Stage.
Yes, you can. You can locate your tour in the Google Maps world. You can associate the tour with a Google My Business identity and publish it. Yeah.
Okay. Other features?
And well, the other thing is VR. Now, I mean, I know lots of folks don't use VR, but one thing just to be very clear about is every single Metareal tour is WebXR compliant out of the box. Just open the link in a WebXR viewer, Quest browser, Volvic. On desktop, I think it's Firefox, and you need to enable the VR toggle and have a PC headset, but and it all just works.
So obviously between Meta and Apple with Apple Vision Pro, that's a growing space, and you have already have enabled the content to be compatible. I guess what would you call that? Future proofing. So the content that's created today, even if there's not a use by your client for those platforms, virtual reality platforms today, at some point the client may come back to you and say, hey, can we put that in Apple Vision Pro? Can we put that in a Meta? And then the answer is going to be, oh, yes.
Yeah. And the important thing to remember also is that even though your 360 images were not shot as stereoscopic images, once it's recreated as a Metareal tour, it's a 3D model. So you will see it with real scale and real depth in the VR headset. So we do make use of the stereoscopy. And that's why it's very important that you get your scale of your model right. Because if you get your lens height wrong and your building is really small, when you look at it in VR, it will be really small, and you'll be really big. So it's a real 3D scene, and you see it in 3D.